Hi, welcome to Happy Tales. I'm Cheryl Rosenthal, Communications Coordinator here at the Oshkosh Area Humane Society.
And I'm Joni Geiger, Executive Director.
And this is our little friend Panther, who's going to help us with our show today. We're going to be talking about what people need to consider when they're bringing another pet into the home and they have existing pets. And then we're going to touch on some of the reasons why people bring their pets to the shelter. And we're going to be talking about the reasons, but certainly are not discouraging people from bringing their pets to the shelter if they can no longer have them. And of course, it would be not right if we didn't offer some solutions to the concerns that people have regarding having to surrender their pets or when they're bringing in a new animal into their home and are running into problems.
Sure. And I think one of the things that we want to remember when people want to bring a pet into their home, they do it for a number of reasons. A lot of times if they have an existing pet, maybe they're looking for a buddy, or maybe it's a situation where they're concerned about their animal being lonely when it's left alone, or it might be the kids want a puppy, or there's just a whole gamut of reasons, right, obviously, Cheryl, that people decide to get a second or third or sometimes a fourth or fifth pet. And based on that, it should be a thought process.
Right.
So let's talk about that.
Right. I think one of the things that I have seen happen in the past is somebody will maybe have a cat or they have a dog and they're going to get a different species into the home. And for argument's sake, let's just say you have a cat and you decide you're going to get a puppy. And they're not going to get along right away. It's building a relationship, and you need to kind of lay the groundwork. The cat is probably feeling territorial. They don't want a new animal into their space, may feel frightened, may feel threatened. And there are all different kinds of ways of introducing a new pet to the household, and that's one of the things that we pride ourselves with, is we give people the tools to introduce that animal into the home, and so that it is a smoother transition, not just for the puppy coming in, but also for any existing pets that are already in the home. And I think that's real important that people take that into consideration. A lot of times people have cats and they bring in another cat and they think, oh, within a day or two they should all be best friends. Right. Just like human relationships take time, so do pet to pet. Here we got two guys making friends right now. It's building on a relationship, and they're not going to be immediate friends. And so there really isn't a time limit that we can say, oh yeah, by the next month or two they're going to be best friends and they're going to be sleeping together. A lot of times with cats, the best you can hope for is a tolerance. But if you're lucky enough to make a really good match, you're going to have them sleeping together and grooming each other.
Well, let's back up a little bit, Cheryl, and maybe talk a little bit about the dog-cat relationship. You said we pride ourselves on encouraging certain behavior, and I think it's important that people, you're right, existing pets obviously don't necessarily welcome a new pet in, be it a dog or be it a cat. And let's say you have a cat at home and you're going to bring a dog in. Okay, I think it's important that people remember that the cat was there first, and obviously cats are different than dogs.
They have a totally different social structure.
Exactly. So the truth is that people need to understand that it isn't acceptable behavior for that new dog or the dog coming in to chase, to get into the cat's territory. It creates a lot of stress for that kitty, and we always encourage people when they're bringing a dog into the environment that they need to recognize that they have to actually train and correct their dog and not the cat. And why don't you share with some of the reasons for that?
Well, and it isn't just, correcting the dog, but it's also praising the dog when it's acting appropriately. Nobody wants to hear all the time, no bad dog. And so you want to set your dog, your new puppy or dog, up to be successful. And one of the ways to do that is to have your dog on a light lead, so that if they do decide to give chase, you can and grab a hold of the dog. And as soon as the dog looks away from the cat, reward them. Oh, good boy, and give them a treat. To reward that behavior of, you also want to create a safe room for your cat. Allow them someplace where they can get away from the dog, someplace where they can be up. A lot of times, well, here we have some good examples right behind us. If a cat is frightened or needs to get away They want to go up high. So have some place for your cat where your cat can hide. But you don't want your cat to be hiding all the time.
Right.
And so by having your dog in control and rewarding that behavior, you're going to have a smoother transition.
Do you think it's okay, Cheryl, for a kitty on an initial meeting or thereafter for a kitty to kind of do that?
I think that's very natural, and that's one of the reasons why I think here we do, when we're adopting a dog into a home that we know that they have cats and vice versa, we always see what is that dog's reaction. Because some dogs, if you hiss and spit, if the cat hisses and spits at the dog may most likely shy away, like, whoa, okay, you don't like me. But then there are dogs that are more prey-driven, and they may air snap at the cat, or they may decide, ooh, this is an opportunity for me to chase.
Right.
And so, again, you want to have that situation under control before just letting things unfold, because once the dog is allowed to chase the cat, you can end up with a cat who's going to have possible litter box issues, a cat that's going to become very fearful and is going to stop eating, and is going to be under a great deal of stress and have some illnesses. And you know, sometimes, unfortunately, Joni, people decide, well, this isn't working, I'm going to get rid of the cat and keep the dog. Or I'm going to get rid of the dog and keep the cat. And unfortunately, the scenario we hear most often is people choose to keep the dog. And it's normal for there to be some hissing and spitting. And I understand that people are concerned that, well, I don't want my dog to have his eye scratched out. But the truth of the matter is animals can read each other's body language, and that dog knows that threatening posture and can choose to back away. And it's important when they do back away that we're right there right away to say, good boy, right, that they redirected and that they're leaving the cat alone. And not allowing the cat a safe place to hide or to get away from the dog is, again, kind of setting things up to fail.
And I'll give you an example, Cheryl. I worked with some folks last year that had a similar situation, and they brought a new dog in, and they actually thought it was, you know, and not meanly so, but they thought it was funny that the dog was chasing the cat, you know, because it was kind of happening.
Well, they thought it was a game.
Yeah, they thought it was a game, and they actually thought the cat was enjoying it. And what had started to happen is the cat started to hide, and it, you know, was staying in places like the closet and so on and so forth. And they were really losing their cat. They were losing their personality, and the dog was just having a gay old time because he just thought, well, this is wonderful. Even though the dog wasn't hurting the cat, the dog really did see it as a game, but the cat didn't necessarily. So when I started to work with them, and I explained the situation, and I explained how this cat was under tremendous stress and was really not happy anymore in this environment, that they needed to change things, and that wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing for the dog. It wasn't, you know, and it was really going to be a better thing for the cat. So once they recognized that the cat didn't see this as a game, the cat really was serious about being under a lot of duress and stress, and they changed that so that the dog understood that there were appropriate times to approach the cat and inappropriate times. Once they worked with that, and after a period of time, and it was really probably around 30 days, what they found is that the cat started to return to its natural personality, started to enjoy the company of the dog, and ultimately what ended up happening is they became friends.
Right.
So it's real doable,
right,
but people have to put the effort into it.
Right, and sometimes you can see it. I know I have it at my house where, you know, the cat will be laying in the sun and the dog will go and lay in the sun next to the cat. And they've built on that relationship. And you have to give the cat an opportunity to realize that, oh, this dog is not going to harm me. And that comes down to the structure in the household. Sure. That, you know, in the hierarchy, you are the leader, and then would come your children, and then would come your cat, and then would come your dog. Because the truth of the matter, no matter the size of the dog or whether the cat has claws or not, in the blink of an eye, a cat can be severely injured or killed by a dog. Sure. And nobody wants to think about that happening. But there are going to be some disagreements of, you know, that's my food bowl, or get away from my
kids,
toy.
You know, siblings have the same
right.
situation.
And so We have the tools to offer people to successfully introduce a puppy or a dog to a family that has cats or kittens, and vice versa.
And even if people are having problems, currently having problems,
Oh, exactly.
in other words,
exactly.
and they are maybe thinking about, you know, this isn't working, and gee, maybe I should really be thinking about, you know, finding a different home for the cat or the dog. You know, that maybe that isn't really, you know.
Well, and you know, another point is that maybe you've had a cat and a dog, and one of those two pets passes. And you decide, okay, the dog passes away, we're going to get another dog. And you don't understand, why doesn't the cat accept this new dog as readily as it did its old friend? And here again, it's not just another dog, it's not the same as the dog that was there.
Sure.
So it's building a whole new relationship.